Welcome to English Stories Academy.
Coca-Cola, you know the name. You see the red and white logo everywhere. It's hard to miss. Coca-Cola is one of the biggest brands in the world, and they spend a lot of money to stay that way. Every year, billions of dollars are spent on advertising, but think about what they are selling. It's not just a fizzy drink. It's more than that. Coca-Cola sells you an idea. They sell you happiness, friendship, and good times. Watch any Coca-Cola advert and you will see smiling people, parties, and laughter. They want you to think that Coca-Cola is part of every happy moment. They want you to think that drinking Coke means you are buying happiness in a bottle. But is this the full picture? Is Coca-Cola really just about fun and happy feelings? Some people say there's a different story to tell. They say there are problems hidden behind the happy ads, serious problems that many people don't know about. This book is going to take you on a journey to find out the truth. We will travel back in time to the very start of Coca-Cola. We will explore its long history right up to today. We will look closely at the company and its story. We will see what's behind the happy image. We will try to uncover the real story, both the good and the bad. We will find out what the success of Coca-Cola has really cost. Get ready to discover the surprising and sometimes difficult truths about this famous drink. This is the story of Coca-Cola, and it's more complicated than just happiness in a bottle. 2. How Coke began. In the 1880s, many people liked to use special drinks called patent medicines. These drinks said they could cure illnesses. Some people did not trust doctors so much at that time. Clever business people made these drinks and said they were very good for health. But really, many were not helpful and some were even bad for people. They could say anything they wanted because there were not many rules about medicines then. One very popular drink was Vin Mariani. It had wine and cocaine in it. People thought it could cure almost everything if you drank it every day. A man named John Pemberton really liked this drink. He was a soldier who got hurt in a war. He had a lot of pain and became addicted to morphine, a strong pain medicine. He hoped Vin Mariani could help him stop using morphine. When he drank Vin Mariani, he did feel better. But this was because of the wine and cocaine in it, not because it was medicine. John Pemberton was a chemist, someone who knows about mixing chemicals. He liked Vin Mariani so much that he wanted to make his own version. In 1884, he made a drink called French wine coca. It was very similar to Vin Mariani, but with a few extra things added. This drink would later become Coca-Cola. Pemberton thought his drink was good for people. He was not trying to trick people. However, things changed. Soon, places started to ban alcohol. This was called prohibition. Pemberton had to take the wine out of his drink. To replace the wine, he used fizzy water, also called carbonated water, but without wine, the drink tasted bitter. So he added a lot of sugar to make it taste better. Now that there was no wine, he needed a new name for his drink. His bookkeeper, Frank Robinson, suggested Coca-Cola. The company later said the name did not mean anything special, but this is not true. The name came from two main things in the drink, coca leaf and cola nut. Coca leaf had cocaine and cola nut had caffeine. Coca-Cola now says that their drink never had cocaine, but it is known that it did have coca leaf, which contains cocaine. Later, around 1929, they found a way to take out the cocaine from the coca leaves. People started to understand that cocaine was not a good medicine. In the 1880s, people were not worried about cocaine in drinks. So Coca-Cola could still be sold after taking out the wine, but not many people were buying it. Pemberton was still trying to sell it as a medicine. Early ads for Coca-Cola said it was a brain tonic that could help with headaches and stomach problems, but sales were slow. There were many other drinks like this at the time. Coca-Cola did not seem special. At the same time, Pemberton was getting sicker. His pain was worse and his addiction was stronger. In 1888, John Pemberton died. He did not know that his drink would soon become famous all over the world. 3. A smart businessman. After John Pemberton died, a man named Asa Candler bought Coca-Cola. He paid $2,300 for it. Some people think that some papers about buying the company were not real. They say that signatures were copied and old papers were destroyed. We may never know the full story because important old papers from the company were burned, but it doesn't matter now. By the 1890s, Asa Candler was the boss of Coca-Cola. At first, not many people knew about Coca-Cola. Candler was a very smart businessman and he wanted everyone to know about his drink. Candler started to put the Coca-Cola logo everywhere. He put big signs in towns and on roads. He painted the logo on walls and on farms. People started to see the Coca-Cola name and logo all the time. One very clever idea was to give away free Coca-Cola. Candler sent coupons to people who were good customers at pharmacies. These coupons were for a free drink of Coca-Cola. Candler thought that if people tried Coke for free, they would like it and buy it again. This idea worked very well. At the beginning, Coca-Cola was sold as a medicine, but Candler changed this. He started to sell Coca-Cola as a drink that everyone could enjoy. He said it was a tasty and refreshing drink. This was a good idea because more people would buy a drink than medicine. To make Coca-Cola popular, Candler used famous people in ads. He used actors and sports stars. He even used Santa Claus in Christmas ads. He wanted people to think of Coca-Cola as something good and happy. Coca-Cola was one of the first companies to use sex sells in advertising. They used pictures of pretty women called Coca-Cola girls in ads. These women were always holding a bottle of Coke. Candler also used market research. This means he studied where to put ads to get the most attention. He even looked at how many cars were on the road and how people moved around in shops. This helped him to put Coca-Cola ads in the best places. Asa Candler was very good at making Coca-Cola famous and liked by people. He focused on making the brand seem good and positive. He used many new ideas for marketing. Because of him, Coca-Cola started to become a very big and successful company. 4. Coke in bottles and war. In the beginning, Coca-Cola was mostly sold in soda shops. This was good for the company because they only needed to sell the syrup. The shops would mix it with fizzy water. This way was cheaper than making and sending bottles of Coke everywhere. Then, 2 lawyers named Benjamin and Joseph had a new idea. They thought Coca-Cola should be sold in bottles. Asa Candler, who owned Coca-Cola, did not think this was a good idea. He thought it would be too expensive and difficult to bottle Coke. But Benjamin and Joseph were sure it would work. They said they would take care of all the costs and problems. Candler agreed and made a deal with them. He gave them the right to bottle Coca-Cola for only $1. Candler believed bottling Coke would not be successful. He thought he had nothing to lose. However, bottling Coca-Cola was a great success. People loved to buy Coke in bottles. They could take it home and drink it anywhere. For Candler, this was good news at first. The bottlers bought a lot of Coke syrup from him. This made his business even bigger. But there was a problem with the contract Candler made. He had not thought carefully about it because he did not expect bottling to work so well. The contract did not say how long the deal would last. It also did not say that the price of syrup could change if sugar and other things became more expensive. This cheap, never-ending contract caused problems later. Coca-Cola had to spend a lot of money to buy back some of these bottling rights. It was a lesson learned from a deal made too quickly. Years later, something big happened. World War II started. During the war, things like sugar became hard to get. The government started to control how much sugar companies could use. This is called rationing. But Coca-Cola said they should not have to follow the sugar rules. They said Coca-Cola was very important during wartime. They said it helped soldiers feel good and have energy. They spent money to convince the government of this. This is called lobbying. Surprisingly, the government agreed. They said Coca-Cola was important for morale, for keeping people happy and strong. Coca-Cola got special permission to get sugar, even when others could not. The head of Coca-Cola promised something big. He said every soldier would get a bottle of Coca-Cola for only 5 cents, no matter where they were or how much it cost the company. Selling Coke at this low price meant Coca-Cola would not make much money, or even lose money on each bottle for soldiers. But this was a clever plan. It made people think of Coca-Cola and the war together. It made people feel good about Coca-Cola. It built patriotism, love for the country. Coca-Cola showed ads with soldiers drinking Coke. It connected Coke with being American and supporting the war. More than that, Coca-Cola made a deal with the government to build bottling plants overseas in other countries. They said it would help American soldiers and spread American ideas. The government helped pay for these new plants. During the war, 64 Coca-Cola bottling plants were built in different parts of the world, often with government money. The people who set up these plants were seen as important as people fixing tanks and planes. Because Coca-Cola was now available everywhere soldiers went, they shared it with people in other countries. Soldiers liked having a taste of home, and they introduced Coke to new people around the world. The soldiers became like Coca-Cola's helpers, spreading the drink to new places. So while World War II was a difficult time for many companies, it helped Coca-Cola grow very quickly around the world. Today, Coca-Cola is sold almost everywhere. The deals made during the war were a big reason why Coca-Cola became a global drink. 5. Coke sells to everyone. During World War II, Coca-Cola's business took a surprising turn. While in the United States, Coca-Cola ads showed happy soldiers and talked about patriotism, the company was also selling its drink in Nazi Germany. This might seem unbelievable, but it is true. Coca-Cola was operating on both sides of the war. When the war made it almost impossible to get Coca-Cola syrup to Germany, the head of Coca-Cola's operations in Germany, a man named Max Keith, had a smart idea. He needed to create a new drink that could be made with ingredients available in Germany during wartime. He used things like leftover fruit pulp from making jam and other foods. Using these local ingredients, Max Keith invented a new soft drink. He called it Fanta. Fanta quickly became very popular in Nazi Germany. Many other drinks were hard to find because of the war, so Fanta filled a gap. Some stories suggest that forced laborers from concentration camps might have been used in the production of Fanta. What is known for sure is that after the war ended, all the profits made by Fanta in Germany went back to the Coca-Cola company in America. This shows how Coca-Cola continued to operate and make money globally, even during a major conflict, selling to people on different sides of the war. After World War II, Coca-Cola became a truly global brand. The war actually helped in this expansion. American soldiers had Coca-Cola with them wherever they went in the world. They shared it with people in other countries, and many people liked the taste of Coke. Coca-Cola saw this as a big opportunity. They started building bottling plants and selling Coca-Cola in many new countries across the globe. Today, Coca-Cola is sold in almost every country in the world. Only a very few countries do not sell Coca-Cola. People often talk about the secret formula of Coca-Cola and believe it is the key to its success. They imagine a very special recipe kept locked away in a secure vault. Coca-Cola itself sometimes plays up this idea of a secret formula to create mystery. However, many experts believe that the secret formula is not really the main reason for Coca-Cola's huge success. They argue that Coca-Cola's real power lies in its incredible marketing and the brand image it has carefully built over many years. Coca-Cola spends billions of dollars every year on advertising. They are not just selling a sugary drink. They are selling an idea, the idea of happiness, togetherness, and fun. This powerful and positive image, created through very clever marketing, is what makes Coca-Cola sell to almost everyone around the world. It's the feeling and image of Coke, even more than the taste, that makes it so popular and successful. 6. Some big problems. Coca-Cola adverts often show happy times and fun. They want you to think of happiness when you see Coke, but there are some big problems with the company that are not so happy. One problem is how they sell Coke to children. Coca-Cola wants to get customers from a very young age, even from when they are babies. This is called a cradle-to-grave plan. To do this, they make special deals with schools. Coca-Cola pays schools money if the schools agree to only sell Coca-Cola drinks in the school shops and machines. This means children have fewer choices. They are more likely to drink Coke because it is the only option. Coca-Cola also uses toys and things you can collect to get children interested. They make toy cars, dolls like Barbie, and even board games with the Coca-Cola logo on them. Coca-Cola says these are for adults, but children see them and want them too. Another way Coca-Cola reaches young people is by putting their drinks in movies and TV shows. They pay to have Coca-Cola bottles and cans shown in films that families watch together. This is called product placement. It works very well. Even babies can start to know the Coca-Cola brand because they see it so often. From the 1980s, more and more people started to worry about health. Doctors and scientists found out that sugary drinks like Coke can cause health problems. One well-known problem is tooth decay. The sugar in Coke is very bad for your teeth and can cause holes in them. Obesity is another big worry. Drinking sugary drinks like Coke makes people gain weight and become obese. Studies showed that children who drink just one extra sugary drink each day are much more likely to become overweight. Being overweight can then cause serious illnesses like diabetes, which is a disease where your body cannot control sugar levels. Coca-Cola says the caffeine in Coke is only for the taste, but some people think it is to make people addicted to Coke, so they buy more. When health problems became a big worry for Coca-Cola, they did not stop selling sugary drinks or change how they sold them to children. Instead, they paid for their own studies. These studies tried to say that drinking Coke was not really bad for your health. But because Coca-Cola paid for these studies, many people do not think they are honest. Coca-Cola also tries to stop governments from making rules to help people be healthier. They do not want governments to put taxes on sugary drinks, as this would make Coke more expensive. They also do not want strong rules about what people should eat and drink to stay healthy. To make people think Coke is healthy, the company spends a lot of money sponsoring big sports events and famous athletes. They want people to connect drinking Coke with being healthy and active. But this is not true. Coke is not a healthy drink. Coca-Cola has also had problems with other drinks they sell. When they tried to sell Dasani bottled water in the UK, it was a big failure. People found out that Dasani water was just normal tap water that had been cleaned, but it was not even cleaned properly. It had some bad things in it. Coca-Cola had to take back almost 500,000 bottles of Dasani because it was not safe to drink. In the 1990s, there were also big problems with Coca-Cola drinks in Belgium and France. Many children became sick after drinking Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola had to take back all of their Coke products in Belgium. France also stopped selling Coke for a short time because of this problem. In India, Coca-Cola has been accused of making the water in the ground dirty. People living near Coca-Cola factories said that the company was putting bad waste into the groundwater. Independent tests found toxic waste from Coca-Cola factories in the groundwater. This made the land bad and killed animals that drank the water. Farmers could not grow food anymore because the water was dirty. Studies in India also found bad chemicals called pesticides in both Coca-Cola and Pepsi drinks, which can be harmful to health. These are just some of the big problems that Coca-Cola has faced. Even though they try to sell a happy image, there are real worries about health, the environment, and how they sell their drinks. 7. More bad news. Things were getting worse for Coca-Cola. People started to see more problems with the company. One big problem was water. Coca-Cola uses a lot of water to make their drinks. In some places where water is already difficult to find, like Mexico, Coca-Cola was using even more. It was said that when a former Coca-Cola boss became president of Mexico, things got easier for the company. Coca-Cola got deals that allowed them to use a lot of water, even in areas where local people and farmers needed it. This made life harder for these communities who depended on that water. Some people said Coca-Cola was taking water that belonged to them and not paying fairly for it. Coca-Cola also had problems with other drinks companies. In some places, shops were told they could not sell other cola drinks if they wanted to keep selling Coca-Cola. This is not fair to other companies and does not give people much choice. There was also a new kind of vending machine that changed prices depending on the weather. When it was hot, the price of Coke went up. People felt this was unfair and that Coca-Cola was trying to take advantage of hot weather to make more money. Another issue was about how Coca-Cola showed its sales numbers. It was said that Coca-Cola made companies that sold their drinks buy more syrup than they needed. This is called channel stuffing. It made it look like Coca-Cola was selling more than they actually were, to make their business look better to people who invest money. Then a campaign called Stop Killer Coke started. This campaign said that Coca-Cola was responsible for bad things happening to workers in Colombia. These workers were in unions, groups that protect workers' rights. The campaign claimed that some union workers were killed because they were trying to protect their rights at Coca-Cola bottling plants. There were also lawsuits, legal cases about violence against union workers in Guatemala. Workers said that when they tried to start a union at a Coca-Cola plant, they and their families were attacked. They said they were kidnapped, hurt, and even killed. Coca-Cola said they were not involved in these violent acts and that they did not know about them. They said the bottling plants were owned by other companies, not directly by Coca-Cola. But people still blamed Coca-Cola because their name was on the drinks and the business. Going back to the past, it was also found that a sack handler, one of the first big bosses of Coca-Cola, had some very old-fashioned ideas about children working. He once said he thought it was good for children to work from a young age. These old ideas did not look good in modern times. So there was more bad news for Coca-Cola. From using too much water in dry places to unfair business practices and accusations of violence, the happy image of Coca-Cola was becoming harder and harder to believe. 8. The big mistake. Coca-Cola and Pepsi were always fighting to be the most popular drink. Pepsi did something clever. They made the Pepsi Challenge. People tried Coke and Pepsi without knowing which was which. Many people said they liked Pepsi more. This was bad news for Coca-Cola. Even though they spent lots of money on ads, people started to buy Pepsi more. Coca-Cola thought about how to fix this. They had a secret idea: change the taste of Coke. They worked hard to make a new Coke recipe. They did many taste tests. In these tests, most people liked the new Coke better than the old Coke and even better than Pepsi. Coca-Cola was happy. They thought they had made Coke even better. In 1985, Coca-Cola announced new Coke. They stopped making the old Coke, but people were very angry. They did not want a new Coke. They loved the old Coke. People felt like Coca-Cola had made a big mistake. They felt like they had lost something important. People called Coca-Cola all the time to complain. They wrote angry letters. They wanted the old Coke back. Some people even said they felt like they had lost a friend. Coca-Cola was surprised by how angry people were. After a few months, Coca-Cola listened to the people. They said, "Okay, we will bring back the old Coke." They called it Coca-Cola Classic. When they brought back the old Coke, people were very happy. It was like a party. Sales of Coca-Cola went up a lot. People loved Coke even more than before. Some people said that new Coke was a big mistake, but maybe it was a clever trick. Maybe Coca-Cola made people love the original Coke even more by trying to change it. What is the lesson? It is that Coca-Cola is not just about taste. It is about feelings and memories. People felt a connection to the old Coke. Even if the new Coke tasted better in tests, people wanted what they knew loved. Coca-Cola sells more than just a drink. They sell an image, a feeling. And this is very strong thanks to all their advertising. Even when they make a big mistake like new Coke, it can somehow make people love Coke even more.
Like, share, and subscribe to our channel.